Now, Tanya Chavez, who's a strategist with the immigration rights group La Unión del Pueblo Entero, or LUPE, and Democratic State Representative Terry Canales. Tanya, let me start with you. What are the concerns your organization who works here down in McAllen has about what the effects of this policy are?
Well, one of the fears that we have is that we have dealt with the issue of immigration for many years, and families who have resided here for many years are now wondering, are we next, right? And
so this has sort of cast a pall over the community here.
Exactly, and then the other issue is now we're starting to get some calls into our office, and how do we reunite those children with their parents? Our biggest concern is that when children get routed through the system and they're ready to be released to a family member, their parents are in detention. So how are you going to get them to someone in safety? And if they were to have another undocumented relative that they could be released to, the zero tolerance policy is preventing those family members from stepping forward to picking up those children. So now we have them being released to a foster care system.
Right, so you can have a kid who's cleared the process, who's ready to be released. The adult is still in detention because they've been separated in the processing, and then they can't go to an actual family member they have because that family member is too scared they're going to get prosecuted in court.
Exactly, and so what we're dealing with our community is that historically in the Rio Grande Valley we dealt with the issue of immigration, and we have increased militarization, and we're also wondering if this is going to mean more militarization for border communities, where we're just trying to make a living and be a safe community, a welcoming community for all immigrants.
This is your district. What did you think of the letter from the House Speaker today?
It was what was needed. We've got two different breeds of Republicans in Texas, and I think Joe Strauss represents the more ideological person that better represents the mainstream Republican, not this far fringe right Republican that we've seen that basically a President Trump style follower.
I mean, this is a massive disruption for this area, right? I mean,
it's incredible.
You're someone who's been in that facility. You represent the border. What's new now? What has changed under the Trump administration, particularly under this policy?
Well, what you're seeing clearly is having the last time I was in the facility in 2014, those were unaccompanied minors. What they're creating are unaccompanied minors who actually weren't unaccompanied, which is the problem. But make no mistake, that's a prison. I've been inside it. The children sleep on the floor. They're covered in aluminum, look like foil camping blankets. This is a terrible place to be. And the last time I was in here, Chris, I sat in my truck for almost 20 minutes and cried my eyes out. That was me. I can't imagine the children that are in there. It's absolutely devastating, the psychological effect. And knowing that we're at the epicenter of this, that our community's at the epicenter of this, it's really taken a toll on us all.
Yesterday and this morning when we were here, we get to see the buses where the children are being shuttled out, and it's really it breaks your heart to see those children waving their hands at you. And so we need to make sure that the public knows that this can be ended by the Trump administration with the stroke of a pen. He has the power to end this policy.
So a really important thing that I want to hear from both of you, because you live in this community, you represent this community. The context of this whole thing is that somehow these people that are coming, seeking asylum in most cases, they need to be held somewhere. You can't just let them go. But of course, that was what we did for years, right?
They don't need to be held anywhere. They are asylum seekers looking for a better way of life. They need to be processed and be given a credible fair interview and be let into the United States. That's what needs to happen. We are not in the business of incarcerating kids like we're doing today. So the nation and this Trump administration needs to end this policy because it's immoral.
Additionally, I'd weigh in and say that one of the aspects that you hear is this MS-13 rhetoric that they're all. I spoke with my sheriff and he said in 2016 they have one person arrested that was affiliated, an American-born. 2017 one affiliated, and 2018 one affiliated, all American-born. 3 people in 3 years in a county of over 1 million people.
In a county of 1 million people on the border that is the site of an influx of people that are.
It's a false narrative, and the idea that they're selling it to the American people that there's an influx of MS-13 people. Yes, the majority there are some caught at the border, but the idea that they're sticking around here and creating havoc, that's not the truth, and it's been confirmed by my largest law enforcement agency. So the idea that
when you hear the president talk about the threat And when you see the president use a word like infest, he used that word today. I don't know if you know this. He said that they're coming here to infest the U.S.
It's just
What's your
heartening.
reaction to that?
It's disheartening. It's disgusting, and what they're doing isn't like Jeff Sessions said that there's some sort of biblical justification. This is not biblical. This is diabolical, and it's disheartening to me, and it's racist at best. And so
America is a welcoming country. We are a nation of immigrants, and therefore we should be welcoming them.
Absolutely.
I asked President Trump, how will he feel if his child were to be taken away from him?
He wouldn't care.
Right? He is a father. Why is he tearing apart children from their parents?
Texas State Representative Terry Canales, Tanya Chavez, Lupe, thank you very much for joining.